Hello friends! In this tutorial we are going to learn how to dynamically use morph targets from within Unreal Engine character blueprint. As an example, I am going to use a character imported from the Daz 3D Studio with the help of Daz to Unreal plugin. We will set this character up as a third-person character and then update morph targets from the event graph. To be honest, I was initially intending to show how to do it from within my true fighting game engine, which allows you to easily create fighting games. But I then switched to the Unreal Engine third-person game template to make this lesson suitable for a broader audience. Nevertheless, let me first place a product placement for my true fighting game engine. If you are watching this video before February 22nd, the engine is on sale on FAB and you can get it with 70% off. Let me remind, the True Fighting Game Engine is my project for Unreal Engine that allows you create your own AAA class fighting games. You can easily add attacks, combos and hit animations, import characters based on any skeletons and create either single-player or multiplayer fighting games. You can check out my other tutorials in this playlist to learn how to do all of this. And with the True Fighting Game Engine, you can create either Mortal Kombat style or Tekken style games depending on your needs. You can find the link to that project in the description below this video. So let's start with the tutorial. Friends, today I'm going to skip the steps required to install the Daz to Unreal plugin. If you are unaware how to do this, I will place a link to my previous tutorial related to the Daz to Unreal and you may follow the steps of installation from that video. But for now, let's just create a new Unreal Engine 5.4 project. Let's name it Daz Morphs tutorial, and it will be a third-person game template. Alright, let's click the create button and wait until the project is being created. And as we assume we have already installed the Daz to Unreal plugin, once the project has been created, let's navigate to Edit, Plugins menu, and type Daz and enable the Daz to Unreal plugin. And we should restart the project. And as you may see, I have already created this Daz figure in my Daz 3D editor. So let's go to File, Send to, and select the Daz to Unreal. And we leave the name as it is, and let's choose Morphs to export to our Unreal Engine. I'll just remove all my previous morphs and let's select the Victoria 8.1 from the left, and let's select breasts up down morph, and we edit for export, and breast side and we edit for export as well. And I'm also going to use this morph from emotion collections from Victoria 8.1. Let's find it. And I edit for export as well. And if we have time, I hope we have, I'm also going to show you how to animate hair. I'm using Librarian Hair Updo for Genesis 2 for this figure, but you can use any higher you want if you want to complete this step as well. And from this for this librarian updo, I select this morph librarian pinup updo, and I select this morph R front sidebang, and I edit for export as well, and I hit accept. And you know, since my last tutorial there were some changes made in the Dust to Unreal export window, so make sure you have these two options selected: fix twist bones and import facing right. Alright, and now let's check it out. Our Unreal project has been restarted, and we have the Dust to Unreal plugin enabled, so let's just press the accept button on the Dust part. And let's wait until it is alright, and it has been exported from the Dust part, and let's wait while it's being imported into the Unreal project. Right. Now let's really quickly change our third-person character to use our newly imported Genesis 8.9 mesh. Let's open Content Drawer and navigate to Content, Third Person, Blueprints, and open up this PP Third Person Blueprint. And if you remember, what should we do now? Let's select the mesh from the Components tab and press the Add button. And let's add a child skeletal mesh component to our main mesh, and let's name it does mesh. And at the right, with the does mesh selected, in the details tab near the skeletal mesh asset, let's select our Genesis 8F mesh, which we have just imported. Alright, and now to retarget animations on the fly at the runtime, let's go to our blueprints folder, right click on empty space, select animation, and let's create an animation blueprint. Alright, and as a base for this animation blueprint, let's select this Genesis 8F skeleton, and let's name this newly created animation blueprint does _anim bp. Alright, let's open it up, and inside the anim graph we see this output pose node. Let's right click on the empty space and start typing retarget pose from mesh. Right, and we add this retarget node, and let's connect the output to the result. Let's compile and save, and we see an error. What should we do? You may remember we had experienced this the last time in the previous tutorial as well. We just want to check our IK retargeter asset, and we select this one, G81 fixed rot 0 root IK retargeter, compile, and let's make sure, let's press this magnified this icon and open up the retargeter asset. And at the right, let's set as the target preview mesh our Genesis 8F mesh. Let's check it out. Yes, it is being retargeted. So we have set our animation blueprint. Now let's go back to our BP third-person character blueprint, and with the does mesh selected at the right in the details tab, we select the animation mode. It is already selected to use animation blueprint, and as the anim class, let's find our does anim BP. Right, and it is being retargeted at runtime. Now let's complete it. Let's make this mesh invisible. So from the in the components tab, let's select the mesh, our queen mesh, and at the right in the details tab, let's start typing viz, and we disable the visible option. And what we also want to make sure, you see this visibility based anim tick, we should check always tick pause and refresh bones. Great, we save and we compile, and let's check it out if it works. Yes, it does work. Now let's go to our blueprint once again, and let's select the camera boom. And I want to make it shorter to see what we do. Well, maybe not, or maybe let's also just move it a little bit up. We compile just to see what we do from a closer perspective when we implement our morphs. Great. Now let's check if our morph targets have been imported correctly. Let's open up our content drawer, navigate to content, dust to Unreal, our Genesis 8F, and open up the mesh. And yes, you see these morph targets, and you see we have this unimpressed facial expression, and we see this morph target for her. So we are ready to get started. And friends, what should we take in mind is that when we use the morph targets, we vary their value either from 0 to 1 or from -1 to 1, right? And to vary between these values, -1 and 1 or 0 and 1, we can use math functions such as sine and cosine, because as you may remember from math, sine and cosine vary between -1 and 1. So let's go back to our third-person character blueprint and open event graph. Right, let's scroll down to the empty space, and let's right click and type tick, because we are going to update our morph targets every tick. Now somewhere near this node, let's right click on the empty space and type get time science creation and select this function named getGameTimeSignsCreation. There's going to be an input parameter for our sign function. Let's drag a connection, right click and select sign in radians. And let's also create a cosine function right now. So let's select cosine as well. Right. And now from the event tick execution pin, let's drag a connection and right click and type set morph target, and we select the morph target for the DAS mesh, and you see the DAS mesh is already provided as an input here as a target. Now let's go back to our mesh and let's first set our morph target for the face expression. So I select this unimpressed morph target, right click, and I select the copy names from the pop-up menu, and I provide this as the morph target name. And as we want the morph target for expression to vary from 0 to 1, not from -1 to 1, let's drag a connection from the sign function, right click to add a node and type absolute and select this function that gets the absolute value of a float value. And let's set this output result to the value of our morph target. Alright, let's minimize it and let's start the game. And you see that the lips of our character, not the lips only, but the overall facial expression, is being animated now in accordance with that unimpressed morph target. Great. Now let's go on. Let's go back to our Genesis 8F asset, and which morph target are we going to add now? Let's now add the morph target for breasts up and down. So we right click, we copy names, and this morph target is going to vary from -1 to 1. So let's drag a connection from this execution pin, set morph target for DAS mesh once again, and we provide the morph target name, just paste it here, breasts up down. And let's now just drag a connection from sign without the absolute value, right? And we provide it as a value. Let's run the game now, and now you see our breast is animated as well in accordance to the morph target. Great. And now let's really quickly animate the bank for our pinup updo hair. Let's open up our Genesis 8 asset once again, and as you remember, I have also imported this R front side bank just to show it as an example. And we are going to vary it from 0 to 1 as well. Let's right click and copy names. And let's drag a connection from the execution pin and set morph target for the dozen mesh. And let's provide the morph target name. We just paste it here. And as the value, we could, well, let's first provide this absolute value for sine function to see what happens. It will work. You see, it's working, but you see it is changing its value synchronously with the ellipse, but I want to make it in a kind of asynchronous way. So let's get the absolute value of our cosine function. And instead of this absolute for sine, let's provide the value for our higher side bank from this cosine absolute value. And let's see what happens now. And it works as well, but now it is not linked to the same sine function which drives our expression. So you see, we are changing our facial expression, we are animating our breasts, but we could actually decrease the amplitude of your breast movement. To do so, let's go to our blueprint class once again. So to decrease the amplitude, let's drag a connection from the sine and start typing divide, and let's divide by 3 and provide this value as an input value for our breasts up down morph target, so the amplitude will be decreased. You see, the breast morph target is still being involved, but it doesn't look so weird. So that's basically it for today. I hope you enjoyed it and you got a basic understanding on how do we access morph targets from our character blueprints. Thanks for watching, thanks for being with me, see you next time, goodbye.